All right, we're live. Is the audio? Oh, the audio's working this time, so that problem's not going to happen now. This go around. What is your?
Well, Streets were saying the audio was working the first time
Yeah.
around.
Oh.
But...
Wait. Why did anyone chime in that my
no,
thought that?
But it was just interesting to see that that you
What,
came
me have
to
a
the
complete
realization.
meltdown?
Look, I've just been.
It was 12:30 at night, and we were out way too late the night before. Which
You went home at 11. Okay, pal.
I got back here at 12:30.
I got back at 2:30
You didn't wake up as early as it. Okay,
because I didn't have a haircut in the city at 8 a.m. You make your own bad decision. Okay, regardless, we're not here.
God forbid
to
a man
about...
wants to spend time with his family.
And
What were you gonna say?
your
What did you? No, I went to lunch with my family afterwards, like a normal human being.
Oh, okay. Well, we've been having a running discourse about the new Joker movie and how you loved the first one and that you were thinking about seeing the second one.
Hold on.
How are you already interjecting?
Wait, hold on. I never said that I loved the first movie. I said that I thought it was a good movie and I was curious to see the second one. I did not agree with the public opinion that it was worthy of winning an Oscar. I thought it was I thought it was a very unique. I didn't enjoy it actually. I actually definitely didn't enjoy it. I thought it was a very unique, well done film. But I didn't go around spouting that I loved it.
You had enough positive things to say about the film that you were at least intrigued about the sequel, which they decided to make a musical between Joaquin and Lady Gaga.
That's a shame.
Well, so far, the movie's been out, and some of the people that I've been following have been trashing it, which I enjoy because I thought the first one was a whole mess of slop.
Well,
and
not just some people have been trashing it, everybody's been trashing it.
Well, according now to Rotten Tomatoes, which I hate to use as like the default review
site,
but
it is the default.
33% fresh and 31% fresh on the popcorn meter. They're both rotten. The movie stinks. I loved that at the premiere, you had Joaquin Phoenix visibly upset about how the ending turned out because there's a whole discourse about how it had 4 different endings and then they decided to go with a certain one. Hey, it didn't matter what ending you went with.
Yeah,
it was a piece of garbage musical.
You shouldn't have a musical as the follow-up for it. I thought that was an insane decision. I was kind of curious in the reviews. If it got decent, actually, if it got good reviews, I probably would have gone and saw it. But for how bad the reviews are, no, I am absolutely not wasting my time. I mean, I'm done with it. Do you see this theory that some people believe that movie was done deliberately, like to scorn the people that identified with the original film that like really enjoyed it?
Oh, you think it was to put off the possible future Joker characters from going out and
not so much that
shooting TV hosts?
Not that, but I think that there's this theory that they think that the movie studio was trying to like get back at all the people that really liked the first one or something. That was what the whole premise was.
So the movie studio went after the fans that supported and wanted to see the movie multiple times. You know what? The first one was such a bag of garbage, and everyone that supported it should be embarrassed. They made the Joker look like a soy boy emo, and that was really
a lot of people identified with that.
Yeah, I could tell. We used to dig mines in this country. We used to do a lot of things. People used to drive stick shifts. People used to be able to change their tires.
Are you gonna go see Transformers with me?
I will see Transformers.
Oh, will you actually?
I genuinely will.
Oh,
if you want,
have you seen any of the other ones?
I've seen the first one.
Oh no, I mean it's not related, but like you got to have some understanding of Megatron and Optimus Prime.
I've got some understanding there. I've got a general.
How quickly can you watch all of the Michael Bay films?
Oh, Joseph, I don't know if I can do that.
You have plenty of time.
If you are inviting me to see Transformers, I will do that. And I think I'll get the gist of Transformers pretty quickly. You think it's going to be
I think it's very complicated.
Is it Transformers, the New World, directed by the Coen brothers, or is it just the Transformers? A stupid Transformers movie for kids.
It has did you know it has the actor in it that played Paperboy in Atlanta? He's Megatron.
Brian Tyree Henry?
Yeah, he's Megatron.
Oh, is he real? Oh,
very interesting casting.
I love Brian Tyree Henry. I'm a BTR mark.
All right, we're here to talk football. Today we're going to be recapping NFL Week 5. Before we get to it, though, we're going to hit the break, and we're going to hear from Bet Online.
And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for like probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen. Relax. If you say it
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. And, it's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. I'm Joe DeLeone. With me is my co-host Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. And today we have plenty to talk about with action from Week 5 of the NFL. Particularly, we're going to be diving in on the Steelers' loss to the Cowboys. We're going to talk a bit about the Broncos' 3-2 start to the season. The Patriots, is it finally time to play Drake May? And the Giants, what the hell? We jokingly predicted the outcome of this game. All that coming up and more. Sean, where can our listeners take the wonderful picks that I give out on this show and then listen to the dog shit ones that you have and fade you? Where can they go if they want to make some money?
Get that pen out of my face.
Make better picks.
Get that slippery pen away from me.
It is a very slippery
I gave
pen.
out a pick today on the FCS show from Bet Online. They had
What
a
was it?
beautiful,
What was
tasty
it again?
line. Chiefs giving 5.5 at home versus the goofball New Orleans Saints. And you know what? That's going to hit. Go to Bet Online, live bet the game. The Chiefs are still plus money. Oh my God. Go bet on them. Bet Online. They have every stat, every matchup, live odds. I'm looking at them right now. They're fantastic. Go bet on the games. Think you know your stuff. Get in on their 200 grand mega contest. Pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200K. When the game's over, you know they got the online casino. You know they got the blackjack. You know they got the poker and all the slots games. 150 of them. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Bet Online, the game starts here.
We've got 9 games that we're going to get to today. Let's start things off with the Baltimore Ravens as they survive in overtime against the Cincinnati Bengals, 41-38. Joe Burrow said that the team needed to play near perfect, and guess what? They didn't. They floundered in overtime, and the game gets away from them. Strong finish for the Ravens. They are so far, Sean, the 5th team since 1980, and there's a clip that we posted on our vertical platforms of me yelling about the gloriness of the running back position. They were the 5th team since 1980 with 1,000 yards through the first 5 games. And the big difference so far, Sean, and this is kind of expounding on a previous point that we had, the big difference between last year and this year, and why one should be optimistic of the future of the Ravens this season, is that they don't have to generate most of those yards off of the legs of Lamar Jackson. Instead, Derrick Henry is the one leading the way. What did you think of this game?
Yeah, there's a lot to break down from Cincinnati. I'll get there to the moment. But but the Ravens are doing exactly what you want the Ravens to do when you were thinking about how this offense was going to shape up. You want Derrick Henry getting 15-plus touches. He had 15 and iced the game in overtime right before the game ended. It was spectacular. He had 92 yards, a tud. Lamar Jackson, 350 in the air, 4 touchdowns, and 55 on the ground. It's exactly how you want this offense to shake out. Maybe you want some more action from Zay Flowers receiving. Maybe you want Mark Andrews to catch the ball once a game. I know that's a lofty expectation to set right now. But this is a huge win. The Bengals finally coming out of their slumber in September. They're 1-4 now. I'm still not out on them. Bengals early season fraud watch. Right now, I genuinely think they can crawl out of this hole. Burrow had 9 incompletions, threw for 405 touchdowns. The only reason they lost this game, Joe, the long snapper. He had a hitch in his giddy up and fake snapped another snap.
This was a bad weekend for long snappers. Blake Ferguson, we're not even going to talk about the Dolphins today, but Blake Ferguson, who's the Dolphins snapper, he had a similar issue where he picked it up. And this is like one of the biggest issue with long snappers is if you pick up the football and you're not coming back with it and you come up with it, the ball slipped out of his hands and scooted it back. Yeah, man, the long snapper crap is not great.
What is that? Yeah, you pick up the hold and McPherson's there. McPherson, money leg also.
Yeah.
Fantastic special teamer. And it's just the snap that cost the Bengals a game, which they were well within their right to win. They had this one locked down. They're sitting at 2-3. Maybe then the Ravens are sitting at 2-3, and the AFC North is nice and competitive. But right now, they got to dig out of the hole. I still think they can, though. Burrow's waking up. The early season trashing of Burrow is come and gone, and now he's back to dotting to Jamar Chase. Welcome back to the scene, him and T. Higgins. 193 for Chase, 2 touchdowns. Higgins, 83 and 2. What a nuts performance from those two.
So I think that's like the big thing here to discuss. Like for the Ravens, we already spent a lot of time talking about the Ravens and how they're bouncing back and they're starting to recover. The Steelers are going to be our next talking point here that we have to discuss. That's a whole separate mess. I think, and we were a little bit cautious about expecting things from the Steelers because of some of the woes that they had, especially at receiver. Again, we're going to get to that in a quick second. But 1-4 is not a death sentence for the Bengals to this point. Have they not played up to expectation? Has their defense faltered and given up a ton of big performances against the quarterbacks that they faced? Have they been gashed and killed by two very elusive quarterbacks who have been compared to one another in Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels so far? Yeah, all these things have happened in the start of the season. But there's a lot of new young faces, especially on defense. That first month, now that we're past it, they need to be a lot more consistent to what Joe Burrow said. They need to play near perfect. Yeah, they have to be. They can't have any more mistakes or any more bad losses. They need to beat everyone that they're expected to beat on the remaining stretch of their schedule, and they need to get back against the remaining teams in the AFC North. But where there is a definite sign of positivity is that the offense definitely has the juice that we know that it can. And
they exploded.
If you can win shootouts and produce the way that they did, you're going to be fine at the end of the day. You're going to be good enough to be a wild card team at the end of the season. I mean, watching this game and getting eyes on it on Red Zone, like it felt like every time they cut over, it was another big gain, another big gain. Jamar Chase, here he is. T. Higgins, here he is. They have every capability to be the most potent passing attack in the NFL. And I think that they will end up finishing that to that degree. It's just the young faces on defense need to catch up and be ready to go. I believe I saw today that Dax Hill is done potentially with a knee injury, so that's going to hurt them. But all the young guys need to step up and they need to play more consistently.
Well, let's play a very quick game of Cincinnati shootout, okay? Next four opponents for the Bengals. Can the Bengals win in a shootout? Bengals, Giants.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Bengals, Browns.
Yes, absolutely yes.
Bengals, Eagles.
Yes. In a shootout, yes.
Bengals, Raiders.
Yes, absolutely.
So
so that's their next four. Okay,
yeah.
Even better context here. That's their next four. They're going to be 5-4 after that stretch.
I think so. Worse, they lose to the Eagles on some junky stuff, and they're sitting at 4-5, and then you're really in the thick of it in the thick of November.
I'm not panicking. I think that there is plenty of time for them to recover. The Steelers, Sunday Night Football, an annoying delay. I'm not gonna lie here. I fell asleep at the end of this game.
You didn't like the delay?
What do you mean I didn't like the delay?
I like the delay.
Why?
I like.
What kind of take is that?
I liked having a little more breathing room between the 7:30 finish. And then we were kicking off at like 9:10, 9:20. I didn't mind it. I had some more time to kind of digest the football, take down some little notes, make some nice little thoughts of what I had from the 4 o'clock window.
Open another beer.
Another beer.
Plenty of time
nice
for that.
little Gansett down the hatch. I had my big pitcher. It was a very nice Sunday, but I didn't mind the delay. I minded that it went to the game ended at about 12:35. Yeah. But for the most part, if we're kicking it off at 9, that's fine with me.
So this game, though, very low scoring, relatively uneventful. 20-17. The Cowboys survive. One of my fantastic betting picks that I gave out last week. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on my my continuous 3-0 weeks that I keep having. But there is a massive talking point to be had with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I still don't know for certain if the Cowboys have resurrected themselves to relevancy and if they're going to continue to rally. It feels like they're eking out close wins. They played well against two good defenses, so there definitely deserves to be respect there for them to outlast the two defensive opponents that they just saw. But there is such a problem right now with the Steelers offense and more importantly at receiver. And I think it's such a farce that we've got George Pickens who's got on his damn eye black, trying to be Ryan Williams doing the same thing, writing on the eye black. Instead, he puts always effing open. Are you freaking kidding me with the way that he played in this game?
Always effing jogging was what his performance was.
And if I'm making sure it was him, he was the jerk off at the end of the game who yanked down Trevon Diggs by his face mask. Am I correct, or am I misremembering here?
I'm trying to recall.
You sent me the clip.
There was a lot of yanking in this game. Calvin Austin got yanked down pretty hard. It was
on the last play of the game. You're the one who sent it to me.
yeah, it was a feisty game.
Yeah, it was George Pickens
Yeah,
who did this.
Pickens is angry. I saw Cowherd describing. I think it was Cowherd.
God, this is such a good clip.
I believe he was describing the Pittsburgh offense as like a flip phone. It's not in the modern. Yeah, it's not in the modern way of technology in the game. It doesn't feel like a flip phone to me because that's what the Chargers are when everyone's healthy, and that means they're reliable. It's going to make the calls, and they're going to run the hell out of the rock. This offense is like putting buttons back on the iPhone. Unnecessary, jumbled, and confusing. It doesn't work. We're beyond the buttons. It's all touchscreen now, or it's all buttons. You can't have some type of hybrid nonsense like what the Steelers are trying to do, and having Justin Fields out there running for his life all night.
To paint the issues that this team is having, and I think that I did a radio spot today, and they asked me this. I think that don't make that noise. Don't make that noise.
What?
You're making it seem
I'm
like I'm
interested
trying
in
to
your
brag. You're making it seem like I'm trying to brag. I was asked this question of do they switch to Russell Wilson as soon as they can, and I think that the answer is no. I think that Justin Fields has played well up until this game that he had against the Cowboys. Their receiving core is abysmal. It is god-awfully terrible. Your leading receiver in this game was Najee Harris with 2 receptions for 35 yards. George Pickens, who was the goof-off who had the meltdown at the end of the game, 3 for 26. They have to, absolutely 1,000% have to do everything in their power to go and get Russell Wilson. Or not Russell Wilson, go and get Devontae Adams. They need to put together any trade package possible to get him. They can't go and get a mid-tier guy. They're also not going to be able to go and get Amari Cooper because that's within the division. I'd be stunned if they were willing to make that deal. They must go after Devontae Adams. This deal sounds like it could happen anytime soon, and if they don't, they're going to be doomed. They don't have any juice on offense. They need somebody good that they can rely on in go-to situations. And heck, I'd throw this in there. I would trade Russell Wilson a part of that deal because right now, we're going to get to the Raiders later, their offense is horrible too because they don't have a quarterback. They would be so happy if you offered them Russell Wilson because it's something to start back there instead of Aiden O'Connell. I'm sure that you can include that in the deal to sweeten the pot along with the second rounder that they want. But plain and simple, he's the only guy on the market. Do not let him go elsewhere. Otherwise, your team is going to get passed by the Bengals and the Ravens within the division.
Can I say this about Najee Harris without anybody getting angry?
I find that doubtful.
He is the king of wasted movement. Every step that he takes is a trigger step. I've never seen Najee. Last night was a great example. Najee Harris never gets to his stride. He never actually gets running. He's just moving. And that is just a weird running back thing with him that isn't working. I honestly, I think they should just go with the backup running backs at this point. They need Jalen Warren back. His production on the offense, 3 yards a carry, 14 carries, 42 yards against a Dallas defense, Joe. Tell me if I'm wrong. Are they good or bad against the running back position?
Not very good.
Not very good. And he was held to 3 yards a carry. All I did was watch him stutter step like he's doing the tire drill and go for 3 yards and just fall down. It's not working. Pittsburgh, it's time to move on. It is. I am officially giving up on Najee Harris.
I didn't know that was where this was going.
I've been watching him intently for the last 3 years, waiting for it. Najee Harris, fast, strong, seemingly agile, but when the pads are on and he gets the handoff, he goes nowhere. He's running in quicksand. It's a bugaboo that I have with the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, and they can't commit to someone that actually wants to run vertically.
Yeah, again, I'm kind of a little stunned that was who you had take issue with. I think it has more to do with the receiving room.
I mean, look, the receiving room, they didn't do themselves any favors in the offseason. Well, actually, they brought in Van Jefferson, Rams and Falcons legend. So what did you expect out of that? It was going to be the George Pickens show, and they were going to try to get Pat Freiermuth
meltdown machine,
the ball
George
more.
Pickens.
Yeah, they're out on a raft without a paddle, and it's like the Steelers are acting like they have Mahomes at the coaching position. Like Tomlin's just going to save us somehow. He's just going to coach his ass off, and we're going to end up with a win. You still got to play 4 quarters. You still got to get first downs and touchdowns. You can't let the DOA Dallas Cowboys, with no momentum and all the drama, come in your house and beat you on Sunday night in the fashion that they did, with Dak Prescott letting Dallas Twitter melt down. Were you tracking the Cowboys Twitter after each pick?
I was not.
It was the most toxicity I could have even imagined. You had Mike McCarthy with a cookout menu calling awful plays, and he still beat you. Shame on Pittsburgh in this game.
Yeah, a lot needs to be done for them offensively in order to resurrect their season. Broncos dominated against the Las Vegas Raiders, 34-18. Heck of a performance by this Broncos team that is a sneaky 3-2. They're second in the AFC West. Bo Nix had a strong performance, not an elite one, but a strong one. 19 for 27 for 206 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is one of the 3 rookie quarterbacks who had stellar performances. They made the Raiders look hapless and directionless on offense. They ended up benching Gardner Minshew for Aiden O'Connell, and we all know that decision making, that track never really turns into some positive results when we're just shuffling quarterbacks in and out. But I want to talk positives here for the Broncos. Some people were overreacting to the Bo Nix reaction where he's yelling at Sean Payton on the sideline, yelling at the coaches and stuff. Look, I'm not worried about that. I see a high tension situation. You're trying to survive in this game. I don't think that's a big deal. Like I think they seemingly have a good relationship, and this could have been blown into more than it was. I don't think it's a problem. Moving past that, this Broncos team defensively has been fantastic, and I think that if they're going to continue to succeed and to improve, they're going to be able to continue to ride it.
Pat Surtain is awesome. I'm glad the Broncos defense. I mean, benching Gardner Minshew for Aiden O'Connell is like benching my left foot with gangrene for my right foot with one toe. You're not going to win that situation either way. I think they should have started with O'Connell anyways, but the Broncos defense is legit. It's kind of a boring, it's a boring defense that gets the job done. And if you have a good defense, the Raiders shouldn't score more than 20 points on you. That offense is tragic. Good for the Broncos. Good for them. You have Bo Nix going down, 2 passing touchdowns, all the memes. He doesn't have a touchdown. The rookie quarterbacks don't have any touchdown passes. Week 3 Twitter, always so hilarious. No, Bo Nix and Sean Payton obviously have a good rapport. Sean Payton has to see a lot of the individual traits in Nix that he believes he can thrive with. And having a Broncos team that has been, what would you characterize, embarrassing at best the last 2 years with Russell Wilson?
Yes.
To a competent 3-2 in a tough division. That's impressive. I loathe Sean Payton. He irritates me. There's a lot of old hurt with the Saints versus the Falcons rivalry. Still, I didn't like that he came in acting like a big swinging D. But now, all right, he's got the D jumping. He's got Denver actually looking a bit competent, which I enjoy. I can get behind Denver only if they're wearing those Orange Crush uniforms.
Those were great uniforms.
The modern disasters are disasters. Only play in the Orange Crush. I know it's so trendy to say that every new team should play. Every new team that rocks the retros should just play in them. It's not. You're not wrong though. They are better, way better. And the Raiders, they have to figure out what their identity is going to be. Is it going to be tankathon? Hopefully we get a really good draft pick and ruin another quarterback, or is it going to be 8th pick on a guard and that we reach and now he's off the team in 2 years?
If you had to give him a hack grade, which is similar to PFF grades, we will not elaborate on our scale or how it works. What would you give Bo Nix for his performance?
Bo Nix, 9.
I'll give him a 280.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
That's pretty good on the hack scale.
Why only a 9?
Why a 280?
Moving on to the next game. Oh gosh, for an audience of 2.
It's what it is, man.
The Patriots are 1-4, and the calls to start Drake May are already starting to come in. They lost to the Dolphins. It was a messy, ugly, bad game. And afterwards, we have a quote from Coach Gerard Mayo saying, "I don't want to get into the separation. Jacoby is out there trying to do what we have asked him to do. He's taken some big hits and his toughness has shown up. Our offense needs to execute better." Some people have argued that this was him maybe hinting it's time for Drake May. One thing that's been kind of interesting, I've had enough exposure in the past month to a bunch of Patriots fans, and I've kind of been able to do some just natural polling. A lot of them don't want Drake May to go in there. They don't want him to go in there and him to get all messed up. I kind of agree. I'm not ready to start Drake May yet. I have had that opinion that it doesn't hurt for him to get playing time. I think that if you're in situations where you've clearly lost, give him some series. I don't think you should start him. I think that this Patriots team is horrible. The offensive line is getting worse as they're piling up injuries. They can't move the ball. Ramondre Stevenson hasn't been great. Antonio Gibson hasn't been great. They can't do anything. I think to that point, you kind of just got to move on to next year and hope that some of these young cats emerge and you can rely on those positive traits and go back to the draft, go to free agency, and start to look for some playmakers, build up the offensive line, get a left tackle, Kelvin Banks, whoever it is, and start to protect and build around Drake May for a big year next year.
Did you see the Patriots starting offensive line in warm-ups that was being reported before this game? Left tackle, Vidarian Lowe.
Who?
Left guard, Michael Jordan.
Huh? Oh, I know who Michael Jordan is.
Center, Nick Leverett. Right guard, Mike Onwenu, obviously.
Yeah, I know Michael.
And then right tackle, DeMontre Jacobs. You cannot put the future of your franchise behind this scale O-line right now. You cannot. If I was the Patriots, Tankathon,
is
number
that the
2
accounting
pick,
department that you put out there?
Yeah, exactly. They could have been the security team at Gillette.
Yeah, right.
They said, hey,
man.
oh, how are your feet?
How tall are you?
Let me get a quick kick set. That's good enough for Jacoby. He'll manage. Patchwork is not even the proper term. I would spend 4 straight draft picks on O-line this year if I was New England. I would. I mean, the defense has been fine. The defense actually, I think, has been decent this year. They have a good defensive backfield. Christian Gonzalez is a very, very good cornerback. But that offensive line, I know that Patriots fans are just so annoying talking about how bad our team is. And, we're not good anymore. I get that, all right? They were good for 20 years, but this is a legit bad front. So they need to spend as much resources as to beefing that thing up as they can, because that is a rough 5 to throw out in front of the future.
Just for complete unnecessary context, this year they have, for 2025, they've got a first, a second, they've got 2/3 from the Judon trade, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and then they've got 3 sevenths. So maybe with those 2/3, you could use that for some offensive line depth. I think that the priority for that first pick definitely does need to be offensive line. It's not a sexy offensive line class. I would argue that if you're going to be this bad, the priority 1,000%, 1,000,000% has to be trade back. Trade back. Let somebody go up and get Carson Beck and ruin their franchise. Go let them do that. Go coax them into doing whatever you can. Let somebody trade. I'm trying to think who's going to be the total bait court. Garrett Nussmeier.
What's wrong with the Nuss?
Well, Ryan and I have had some fun conversations about Garrett Nussmeier. Ryan has given out a great comp for him. Okay. Mac Jones.
Oh, yes.
I've loved that comp. He's kind of built like him. He's a little top heavy. He's going to get and Garrett Nussmeier is a coach's kid, but he's going to get the super smart coach's kid, which is what we heard with Mac and all that crap. But not that great of an arm. Isn't that great like on deep balls and connecting with guys over the top? He's good short intermediate in an offense that sets him up to succeed and all that crap. Let somebody get baited into trading up for the next Mac Jones.
You think they could you think that would be like a Jets pick where they decide to trade up at like 14?
Oh my God. Yeah. That would be that would be bad. I mean, they're not going to trade up with the Patriots, but yeah, that would be a Jets pick to take Garrett Nussmeier.
Feels like it. Just
I need that I need a hole in the head. Garrett Nussmeier on the Jets. You might have just put together what could be a hilarious draft class. All right, moving on, Sean, to the New York Giants. Exactly what we predicted, Sean, on the show. We predicted this in a completely joking manner. You put the bet down and said that the Seahawks were going to cover the 6 points that they had to cover. And we said, Watch this be a career day for Dexter Lawrence and the defense. And you know what freaking happened? It was a career day for Dexter Lawrence and the defense and the special teams and all of that. There was a big block kick on a 47-yard field goal. Bryce Ford Wheaton returns it. 29-20 is the final score here. Look, I don't have a lot of thoughts on this, but it plays into what I said during that segment. This is the typical meaningless nothing game that you win when I hear some
Congrats
people
on the win, man.
So
You'd be happy about a win.
Shut up.
Shut your mouth. That thing.
Shut your mouth.
Watch that thing.
Shut your mouth.
I'm congratulating you.
People are I've seen some overly positive takes, and Ryan sent one to me yesterday about Daniel Jones' performance in this, and I don't want to hear it.
250-2. What a day.
I don't want to hear it.
Darius Slayton, 8 for 122 and a tud.
Stop it.
Come on.
This is one of those meaningless games. They're going to stack a bunch of meaningless games, and they're going to have the 6th overall pick. And they're not going to get Cam Ward. They're not going to get Shador Sanders. And they're going to end up with Carson Beck, who is, in all truth, probably the next Daniel Jones.
Oh, no. Why are you falling on Beck?
I haven't been happy with the way that he's played. And another thing that I've talked with Ryan about, I agree with him. Like, I don't know if Carson Beck really fits into that group of potential guys in this class that have the traits to ascend, to take over a game if things come down to it. He's played well, but he's also thrown some bad picks. And when the run game isn't working, he hasn't been great. But yeah, this game was comically stupid and just plays into what the Giants love to do, which is box themselves out.
You know what? Teams that are serious about the playoffs, they hate losing bad games early in the season, because if you're in the hunt and you're on the bubble and you're in the mix, fans are just looking back like, how could we lose that game? The Giants love winning those games and then taking November and December off, where they look like the most unwatchable football of all time, but they build enough wins where they can't be sitting there with the number 1 pick. Keep drafting Kayvon Thibodeaux. That's working out for you. It's they're a joke franchise that shows up in weird games against NFC teams. And I actually think Carson Beck actually won me over at the second half of that Alabama game when he scored that touchdown, started beating his helmet like a madman.
What were your thoughts when he threw the interception to a freshman?
Yeah, that wasn't great. That was unfortunate. But it was the first time I'd actually seen any emotion or life out of Carson Beck. I said, oh, the robot actually has some feelings. That was good to see. I know exactly the feeling you're going through with this Giants team, though. The team stinks. You know you're not going to do anything when you saw them march out in week 1. Heck, you saw it in training camp that you knew it was going to be the Daniel Jones show, and it just was going to be a season without meaning. So this game was for the kids. This game was for the people in the stands that just wanted to see it. Oh, wait, it was in Seattle, so people at home couldn't even see the team win. What a joke that New York decides to save a clutch win like this on the road.
The most meaningless game.
Meaningless for them.
And it always plays into the fan base. It's one of those games that's like, oh, I don't know, guys. We might have something here. If the defense keeps playing that good. No.
Hold on. You might have a star at running back, though. Tyrone Tracy Jr., 130?
I do like Tyrone Tracy. I do think that they might need to draft another back this year. Like, imagine if the Giants were able to get Gene T or Damian Martinez or one of those dudes.
I don't want
and
them
then they'll
going
just
there.
ruin them.
Yeah. I do not want them going to those to the New York Giants. I want the Giants to find
Ollie
hidden
Gordon
gems.
will end up with the Giants, and then Ollie Gordon will rush for 40 yards every game like he is for Oklahoma State at the current moment. My head hurts. I hate being a Giants fan.
It's sad because you don't even yell at the games like I do.
I just look up in disbelief.
Yeah.
Like when I'm sitting here working on Sundays, I just kind of look up and like, yeah, okay, all right, yep. They're gonna win. Okay, cool. Yeah, they're gonna win. Sure.
You know, at times I know I have to bite my tongue if you're in here recording or something like that. But if I have free reign to just watch a Falcons game, it's a swear-a-thon. It's yelling. It's throwing.
Yeah, the whole
things.
building can hear you.
Good. Yeah, I'm passionate about this team. But I just can feel the negative aura coming out of this room.
Well, when you've been let down as many times consistently, you kind of just come to terms with it, and then you're just kind of Notre Dame might at least hold hope that positive things can happen. All right, let's move on.
Positive things will happen.
Shut up. We'll move on to the next game. The Buffalo Bills bumbled their way to a loss against the Texans. Josh Allen rallied from a 10-point deficit to tie the game. And then on what was one of the most insane coaching decisions that I think we may have ever witnessed and we will ever witness in our lifetime. They had 3 straight downs where they were on their own 3-yard line and they threw it, resulting in them punting in their own territory. There were 32 seconds left on the clock. And all that required was a 59-yarder from Fairbairn who connected on it. The quote from McDermott is even more ridiculous. Like, I'm dumbfounded by it. This is the quote. They're holding 3 timeouts. They have a good field goal kicker. We need to run the clock and move the chains, and that's on me. We didn't do that there. What?
Well,
Boy, like, he just broke it down. Like, you understood all of that? Normally, when you get like a coach who makes a mistake like that, they'll come in and they'll coach speak their way out of it, and they refuse to admit that they're wrong.
This is what we were seeing.
Well, this is what we saw, that we thought that we had this matchup, and we understood that we didn't have enough time, blah, blah, blah. Like, we were able to do this in the third quarter. This is like this is like the equivalent of when you're placing a bet. I don't know why this made me think is when you're placing a bet and you know it's not going to hit. And you're like, you know what? We're just going to do it anyway.
Screw it. It's a 50-50.
Yeah.
That's all
Who
bets
cares?
are.
Yeah. Like, anything can happen. Is this plus 500 odds? I'm going to put $40 on this. Screw it. It's totally going to happen. No, you end up getting burned, and that's the result here. The Bills played good to get themselves back into this.
Yeah.
But it's all burned, and what everyone was talking about on the talk shows today was this ridiculous coaching decision.
Well, it was that and Josh Allen being cleared for the concussion, which, by the way, Pearl Clutchers wanted him out of the game, but he passed the concussion protocol. But that wasn't good enough. To have officials on the side and a medical overlord to come and make a judgment call, I guess it's not good enough, because people, if they see your head hit the turf in somewhat of a hard fashion with the perfectly new
I'd love to hit those
helmets,
people in the head.
with the new helmets, they still don't want the football players in the game playing football.
I'm threatening an ambiguous, faceless group of people. Oh, God,
I
no.
You know what?
I'm sorry, Pearl Clutchers.
What?
over
Oh, no,
here.
that wasn't pearl clutching. That was I saw my buddy go for the low fruit tree. That's what I was looking at. But
Joe, you thought it was just a hack, like, bad joke.
That's all I was
Okay,
going
all right,
for.
all right.
Our team needs to be executed. That's what that gave me. But Joe, on that final drive, did the Bills like run slant concepts or zone breakers to try to, milk the clock, get a first down because they needed 10 yards? Or did they take 40-yard deep shots down the sideline, learning from Coach Prime?
It's like what you do when you're playing Madden and you're just
Yeah.
like I don't want to go to overtime. Let's just screw this. Let's see what happens. At 30 seconds, I got a couple of timeouts. Let's see what happens.
What is that?
Yeah.
It's coaches. I don't know if the lights get bright for McDermott at times. It feels like they do. I believe he's a good coach. I think he's a motivator and a really good team builder. I don't see a lot of drama coming out of Buffalo outside of the Diggs Allen stuff. And I know there was some back stuff with some the girlfriends and all this nonsense. But for the most part, like before like the big AFC playoff game dud, I think Josh Allen was like breaking up with his girlfriend like the night before.
Wait, he's not dating Steinfeld anymore?
No, years ago. Before the Steinfeld thing, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, I saw. I think that Buffalo is a well-run organization with Josh Allen at the helm. They bring in good defensive pieces. That James Cook is running the rock hard. They have a lot of good things going for them, and they just decide. Good. We're just going to shoot ourselves in the foot. We are not going to play. We're going to forget all the football lessons and prep and practice. We're just going to say, F it. Coleman's down there somewhere. Keon Coleman's down there. You're taking a shot. You want to throw it to Mac Hollins, the barefoot bandit? No, thank you. Run the ball outside the tackles or inside the tackles. Burn some clock.
What is... actually, no, that was a terrible way to transition that. Caleb Williams picks himself up off the mat, has a great game as they rout the Panthers 36-10, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns for Caleb Williams. This was very boring to watch, but the reason why I wrote this one down for us to quickly discuss, we spent time last week talking about the whole, are we jumping to conclusions on Caleb Williams? That was my whole argument. And we were reminded very quickly that Caleb Williams has this capability. Was it against the Panthers? Yes. Was it against a bad team? 100%. I am just using this to serve as a reminder to be patient again with young quarterbacks. And I know that this pisses you off, this conversation.
It doesn't piss me
But
off.
it is an important one to have. Is Caleb Williams going to shit his pants and have bad games the rest of the year? 100%. Does that mean he's a bust? No. Does that mean that there has been an answer to the question of if Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams will have the better career? No. We're too early on into this. I'm just using this as a quick reminder that Caleb Williams starting to look better, starting to improve, and if he strings together more games like this, the Bears can go to the playoffs. They need to get healthier as a whole, and he has shown some signs of what we expected from him coming into this league.
Well, it's good seeing the Bears get back-to-back wins. I think if the Bears are good with Caleb Williams, it makes football better. If Caleb Williams plays like a number 1 overall pick for the next 5-10 years, it makes football great. Because in their next matchup, they're playing against a number 1 overall pick that pees his pants in the game in Trevor Lawrence. I think that's a Europe game also, Sunday at 9:30, Bears-Jaguars. So they're getting a nice little a respite against bad teams where Caleb can build some confidence. I wouldn't be surprised if he has 3 touchdowns in the next one. The Panthers were a perfect victim to throw up against him and say, hey, you know what? We're going to let you throw the rock. You go for 302. That's perfect. That's good for us. We're going to also commit to running the ball, Joe.
Look at that concept.
Another thing that we have been preaching on this show.
Run the damn ball.
Between DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson, 31 carries, 100 yards, and 3 touchdowns between them. That's awesome. That's all you need. 30 carries to the running backs, 30 passes from Caleb Williams.
That's perfect balance.
It's perfect balance for a young quarterback. It's not all on me. I know it's all on me at the end of the day, but I'm a young quarterback. You got to ease me in. I'm not an orchid, but you can't just leave me in the garden and never water me. You can't put me under a tree and expect me to grow it all. All right? So having a nice little balance there is good. It reminds him that it's a team game and he doesn't need to go and scramble and make a miracle throw every time. And when he does, it's good. He made a couple nice miracle throws in this game. It was great. He found DJ Moore against his old team. DJ Moore also almost on fraud watch for me because his biggest games come against the worst defenses in the league. I want to see him do it against a good team. I need to see DJ Moore get a touchdown against the Packers this year, and I'll be a believer.
Caleb Williams, he's a peacock. You got to let him fly.
You got to let him fly a little bit, all right? You can't have him... What, did you just watch that movie?
No. I actually, the last time I watched that was like probably over 5 years ago.
Do you know, living in my old apartment, I think I watched that movie 5 times. 5 or 6 times.
It's a great rewatch movie.
That
and Office Space, I could sit and just rewatch it.
A Sunday morning repeat showing of The Other Guys happened multiple times. Hey, do you want to watch this new movie none of us have ever seen? No, we want to see The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson jump off the building. That's what they wanted.
I can't remember last time like I actually got high like I used to when I was like 21, but both of those are perfect movies, and you just get like a big thing of snacks, a bunch of candy, and you just I think zonk out on the couch because there's not a lot going on, but enough going on that you can be entertained.
If I got zonked to Office Space, I think it would make me depressed now. I think seeing,
you made me watch. What was
The Big Lebowski?
Yeah, and I couldn't track a damn thing that was happening in that movie when you tried to make me watch that when I was high. Those LA gummies, man, those will kick your ass.
Come on, that's you know what? That's gonna be a cold take to whoever listens to this that Lebowski isn't the perfect movie for LA setting, big fat sandwiches and a gummy. Give me a break. I was so I could hear the palm trees. I thought I was in the movie. It was awesome.
No, I was. I thought I was watching the movie from a mile away. I didn't know what room I was in.
You gotta.
I didn't know. I thought the movie had just started when it was ending. It was one of those experiences where it's just like, what are we watching? What is happening?
I gotta reel it in. What are we talking about?
All right. So we spent a lot of time glazing Jaden Daniels last week. We're not going to spend any time doing that in recapping the Commanders-Browns game. But Sean, we got to take a quick second here. It's over with Deshaun Watson. For the love of God, this is not a hot take or an original one. Why the hell is the guy still going out there? They lost 34-13, another hapless, just aimless offensive performance. Watson hasn't had so far this year, Sean, a single 200-yard passing game. They haven't scored over 20 points. He's averaging 6 yards per attempt. And after the game, Kevin Stefanski has gone as far as to say this, not even calling it a question. The situation at quarterback. We're not changing quarterbacks. We need to play better. I need to coach better. That's really what it is. And there's clips out there that Barstool was posting of Jameis Winston was the guy leading the huddle. He's the guy that everybody's listening to before games. The defenses, or actually maybe not the defense, but there are guys in the team that are rallying and ready to go. You're getting effed by a quarterback who shouldn't be starting. Why are you falling on the sword, Stefanski? Why are you falling down for this man who sucks? And we've said this before. He's a huge piece of shit. He's not even a good guy. Why are you falling on the sword for him? Let him die and his career end. Not literally let him die, but let his career end.
Yeah.
Just let him disappear into the void. I know you have a lot of money, but start Jameis. He's better than so much of what we've seen from Deshaun Watson.
It's embarrassing. Kevin Stefanski was a coach of the year candidate.
Yeah.
People thought he was a really good coach and a really good decision maker, and he could draw up an offense, and a lot of good things were coming out about Stefanski. And what I'm seeing this year from him, I think he's a moron. I think he's a dummy for some reason.
You're going to go that far?
I mean, honest to God, this is one where the fans are right. This is one where people are watching football pretty casually would understand the scenario of saying there's another quarterback on this team that couldn't possibly do worse. And you could tell someone that's never watched football that, and they would say, why don't they put him in? It's not they don't know about the contract. They don't know about the drama. They don't know about Jameis Winston's 30-30 season. They don't know any of it. But if you were to sit someone down and have them watch the Deshaun Watson football game, and they had never seen football in their life, they would immediately know something is off. He can't connect. He can't complete the simple passes. He can't get the offense in line. He doesn't have the mobility or the juice. And when it's a flash of average. It's not a flash of what we saw in 2021 or whenever, when he was breaking awesome tackles in the pocket. I mean, he was a superhero in Houston. And now the flashes are...
He's just a pervert.
Decent. It's like, okay, that's the big play? That's what we got? No. It can't happen. This offense has too much talent on it. You brought in Jerry Jeudy. You have Amari Cooper. You have David Njoku, Jerome Ford. I know the offensive line has a couple guys down right now, but you're going to have Nick Chubb coming back at some point. You have a defense full of killers, and you throw out the one guy that is inhibiting you week after week. Throw Jameson. Maybe he'll cost you a game at quarterback. He won't cost you every single one. That's where I get so angry about it.
And this is what we talked about week one. Deshaun's biggest issue is he almost feels timid. He's not taking the chances that we were used to seeing that made him so great. Put the king of taking chances in.
Yeah.
Let Jameis go out there and rally the team by taking those shots. Yeah, you're going to lose games because he's going to throw 2-3 picks. It's going to happen. But anything is better than not scoring 20 points and what you're averaging so far. But I have to add here, I'm dumbfounded by there's a small grouping of people that defend Deshaun Watson. Those people should be put on a list.
Yeah,
those people should be put on some sort of a watch list.
When we were talking about him earlier in one of the shorts that we put up, somebody commented, "Not convicted of anything." Go ahead, defend him.
Okay,
defend him.
Yeah, okay. If you want to
defend him.
Yeah, if you want to make that statement, what's your real name? What's your real name? We're gonna make a list. We're gonna put a list together of these are the guys that are defending the dude. Not convicted of anything. It was a civil suit, you moron.
Yeah, I mean, good God. One more thing about Jameis. He's not going to underthrow anybody that's running a deep route. If anything, you'll get sick of the overthrows because he's got a laser, rocket, cannon, Frankie Radical Beam arm. He's a gift to football, and he's been relinquished to a backup.
He's a first He's a former first overall pick. He has tools, and what we've seen. I also wait. If
He was good with the Saints. He was good. He was really good with the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean,
No, his interim with the Saints, Joe. You got to remember,
he's only
he was
30
really good.
as well. He's only 30, so like it's not like we're talking about a guy that's like at the end of his career. Like there's still tools there, and you know, like there's still life to his performance that he can. Something can happen. Something, please, for the love of God.
I don't know what's going on there. It is brutal.
Final game that we're gonna get to here, Sean. Over in England, you made that stupid voice that you did. We're not gonna bring that back. The Jets lost to the Vikings 23-17. The Vikings start the season 5-0. The Jets were down 17-7 at half, and they willed their way back a little bit, and then they ended up losing 3 picks for Aaron Rodgers. They only rushed for 36 yards in this game, so not a very balanced offensive attack. I don't think that this is ridiculous to say, but the way that I watched that Jets offense play, understandably against a victim-creating defensive coordinator in Brian Flores, who has made some quarterbacks look just awful that they've gone up against. But is it overly reactionary to say that this whole Aaron Rodgers thing might not live up to the expectations that everyone once hoped?
No, it is not. And I think that he did a really good job of painting us all as dummies after that awesome Thursday Night Football performance against the Patriots. It was awesome. He was great. He was mobile. He was slinging the rock. Everybody was getting involved. He was working with the tight ends. The offense seemed to be flowing. The running backs had energy. That's what we saw from him this year. But when he's playing a respectable opponent, what was that? What was this loss to the Vikings? The Vikings are very good. But this Jets team, the score doesn't indicate how poorly they played, how many 3-and-outs they had, how hapless Rodgers looked, how many throws right at the feet that he had. I mean, maybe they were just running the too high and he didn't have a chance. But the Aaron Rodgers I remember is a calculated dime thrower. He's somebody that can find the window. He's got the magical arm, the Shaman Rodgers that makes the impossible possible. It's 54 pass attempts. You're only completing just over 50 of that, throwing 3 picks in a total mess, in a slog. 9 carries from Breece Hall. That's an issue all in its own. I don't know what's going on with that rushing attack. They don't have it going. Breece Hall should be doing better. Braylon Allen should be doing better. Everybody in that running back room should be doing better. But it's coming from the quarterback. He doesn't look confident on the field. I don't think him and Robert Saleh are on the same page. And I'm seeing Jets fans, as overreactionary as they are all the time, they're sick of Saleh. They're already tired of him. Because I said this, and I will keep saying it. I don't think Aaron Rodgers respects his head coach. And I think Saleh is tired of being the only one trying to keep the marriage alive. Whereas he already knows that Rodgers is stepping out and staying a little too late at the bars while he's at home cooking the meal for the kids, trying to keep the house afloat.
They're pushing that allegory very aggressively.
I'm just letting you know that you can tell that there is tension, there are issues, the way that they look at each other and handle one another. They're not on the same page. It is a rough, rocky relationship in New York.
I'm gonna be quick to say, Aaron Rodgers looks kind of decrepit. Like he's
last year was
shell
the
of
season.
himself.
This year it was all right. We'll give it one last ride. But
I think he's gonna retire. I think he's done at the end of the season. I have no faith that he's gonna give it another shot. I think they're gonna fall short. It does not show any signs of like optimism. I don't know where what you can point to. You need to beat a team like the Vikings. I get that the Vikings are 5-0 and they're great this year, but that's a team that you have to beat.
The only thing that I could look to in this game is that Garrett Wilson got over 100 yards and he had 13 catches. Like because all season I've been waiting for, when is Garrett Wilson going to start looking like the Garrett Wilson we were seeing in training camp between him and Rodgers, catching a lot of deep balls, carving defenses up in mixed practices. And it wasn't like that. The chemistry was bad, and it looked like it was just old Packers players playing in a different green uniform. But him getting a little more involved, I know a lot of it was garbage time, was good for the Jets.
All right, folks, that's going to be it from us on today's NFL Reaction Show. We're going to be back on Wednesday with our betting preview for the upcoming weekend, 8:30, as well as the hack bag on Friday. Probably going to be going 11 on Friday, so stay tuned for that as well. Make sure you're subscribed. Give us a thumbs up on this video. Drop a comment below, and if you're tuning in on the replay on audio, please leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy listening. We'll talk to you folks later.